This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. March 31st, 1996 is when it went down, so we just passed the 25th anniversary. We've got 15,855 fans there. 12,909 of those were paying fans. They had a gross at the gate of $737,440, and it did 290,000 buys. That's down 50,000 from the year prior with Lawrence Taylor on top. In hindsight, do you think Lawrence Taylor was responsible for those extra 50,000 buys, or was the business down, or did we just not have what the people wanted to see?
Probably a combination of all of those things. And that new gas station and opening up down the street.
The other thing I found interesting is WrestleMania 11 cost $34.95 on pay-per-view, where WrestleMania 12 cost $29.95. When I sort of freestyled a question like this last week on the Q&A, he said, nah, man, we didn't have studies back then. It was just feel. Did you feel like the year prior, perhaps because of your financial commitment to Lawrence Taylor, you needed to charge the $5 extra? Did you feel like because he was on the card, it was enough added value that you could? Did you think the business maybe wouldn't sustain it here? Did you think that maybe you only got $340 the year prior because of that extra $5? What's the thinking for the decrease?
I think just kind of with the market and overall looking at where we were and where pay-per-view was at the time. You know, pay-per-view has gone through some highs and lows in its history as well. And I think it just was different. And by the way, I found the notes. They went to my junk thing. You go to my junk thing.
Why did you junk me?
What the hell's up with that?
Why'd you junk me?
I didn't junk you, but you went to my junk thing.
Well, that's not cool, man.
It is. It's fucked up.
Hey, I want to mention.
I'm still not going to look at them, but I found them.
I know you're not going to watch them, buddy. It does make me wonder, like maybe the pay-per-view landscape changed. Maybe I'm reaching here, but Tyson goes to prison. He's not on pay-per-view in 92, 93 or 94. He comes back in August of 95. So that's after you've done WrestleMania 11. But now, you know, he's going to fight Frank Bruno on March 16th. So just, 10 days before this, Mike Tyson's on pay-per-view again. And even here, even though it's maybe not the Mike Tyson of several years prior, he's still a juggernaut on pay-per-view. When you know you're going to run a show in the same month as a Mike Tyson pay-per-view back then, that has to at least be something you're aware of, right?
Oh, certainly. You're aware of as much as you can be on that, in that realm, because I think you're fighting for the same entertainment dollar there. The same buyer that's going to buy us is going to buy a Tyson fight.
Right. You guys had in prior years done like I don't guess it was called Access just yet, but it was like a big fan fest, like a wrestling convention around WrestleMania. You didn't do one here for 12. Was Vince not sold on the idea? Were the others not successful, or was it just a function of we didn't have the space?
Two things. A, we didn't have the space. The convention center space was extremely expensive and very large, and they really weren't working with us that much. And the cost of doing it and bringing everyone that you needed, you go back and look at the early ones, the staffing of that was a lot of office staff. The cost of bringing that staff and or having to hire a staff on the West Coast, it just was cost prohibitive.
In years past, you've told us that, Sky Dome and certainly the Coliseum, they made presentations to you guys about why you should bring WrestleMania here. But you've also said that it was years after this show here in 96 at WrestleMania 12 until folks started to sort of bid on the thing. And you guys actually started getting paid to bring the show there. This is in that down period where nobody was really clamoring for it and you had to negotiate the best deal you could.
Yeah. And again, this was more of it was WrestleMania,
right?
But in many ways, it was just another pay-per-view as far as the presentation. Yes, it was WrestleMania, and yes, you did bring in people from all over the world for that event. It took time for it to grow into the mega event that it became.
In the final run up to WrestleMania here, the company would sell out Madison Square Garden for the first time since WrestleMania 10, but it's also the first house show it sold out since the mid 80s. and you've got Bret Hart teaming with The Undertaker to take on Shawn Michaels and Diesel on top. Was this a sign to everyone that business might actually be turning around?
Business was kind of turning around in live events, and the hope is, okay, now we're losing Bret, we're losing Diesel and Razor. You got to capitalize, and hopefully that's why the Mankind's coming in, and Stone Cold versus the Ringmaster, and Wild Man Mark Marrow and the Warrior. So you're looking at what's going to replace that, and trying to build.
Talk a little bit about the Observer. They write, the Huckster Nacho Man Billionaire Ted skit match will be on the pregame show, which pretty much removes the legal threats from that skit by using the likeness of Hulk Hogan, Ted Turner, and Randy Savage, all owned or controlled by WCW, as part of an endeavor in which the public pays for it, which the pay-per-view falls into, but a free show doesn't. They would open themselves up for potential legal action down the road. So the idea is there was a match originally promoted that's going to have Nacho Man and Huckster and Billionaire Ted in a match on the pay-per-view. Now it's the pre-show. Did the possibility of litigation, since you guys were already thinking that way, cross your mind?
No, really and truly, the whole thought process behind it was, goddamn, let's just get over with this and move on. And no one was going to buy the pay-per-view for that. No, correct. And it was more along the lines of, just let's get it over with, put it on the pre-show, be done with it, and just be done. So by this point, you guys were just frustrated with the whole thing, but knew you had to have a payoff. So let's just get it over with. Okay. Is that one of those deals in hindsight where it seemed like a good idea on paper, but then it was just a fart in church? Like, nobody cares. Well,
what are we doing?
It's funny maybe one or two times, but then it just became, okay.
Yeah, we're over it. Yeah. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.